Development of miniatures and the small cryo coolers for the satellite for an improved accuracy and reliability of Earth observation. And then the space simulations chambers are the realistic environment for the spacecraft. The cold space is simulated at cryogenic temperatures by use of lithium dinitrites, actually LN2. This is what we have already discussed. The levels of vacuum required in space simulation chambers are very high. That is what actually our fourth module will discuss about the vacuum applications. This is achieved by the use of cryopumps and the turbomolecular pumps that I will discuss it later on. Now, in the mechanical applications, basically it has got a three stages. One is a magnetic separation of the gases, then the heat treatment, and then the recycling. Basically, what happens? Yesterday I was talking about Linde single mode and the Linde double mode. We were discussing about that Linde method, wherein which the first one is a magnetic separation. Before this magnetic separation, there will be a filter wherein which the air will be filtered. Okay, air will be filtered. The dust and the particles will be removed, and only the air will be entering into the chambers. That is what. Then the heat treatment will be there. Heat treatment, it doesn't mean that only we are heating it to the higher temperature. Even reducing the temperature of the materials will also comes under the same category of heat treatments up to minus 180 degrees centigrade. And then the recycling. The recycling means whatever the air that we have already separated, say for example, it may be a nitrogen or it may be oxygen, we have separated it, and the rest of the gas is been reused once again. That is what it means. Then magnetic separation technique. This is one of the methods that has been used. Magnetic separation techniques is used in variety of applications like enhancing the brightness of choline, improving the quality of ultra high purity quartz, etc. Superconducting magnet ensures proper separation. Now here in the magnetic separation technique of separating the gases, wherein which it uses superconducting magnetics. Superconducting magnetics means the magnet which doesn't have any resistance for the flow of electrons. That is what we generally call it as a superconducting materials. And then these superconducting magnets will be used in order to separate the gases. That is what he says. Then the lives of the tools, die casting and their dies, forging, jigs, fixtures, etc. increase when they are subjected to the cryogenic heat treatment. Now, my dear friends, I have already discussed in the initial parts of the cryogenics class, wherein which if a material is being, say for example, if you take an iron or a carbon, any monolithical material, if you freeze it or if you subject it to cryogenic heat treatment, that is beyond minus 180 degrees centigrade, if you take the temperature of the material, it becomes so hard and brittle than 200%, 200 times it will be brittle and hard compared to the same material if it has been subjected to the higher heat treatment temperatures. Say for example, you take it as an annealing or normalizing is one of the popular heat treatment processes. If you take an iron piece and subject that to heat annealing processes, that is a rapid heating and then cooling it to the normal temperature, then heating it to the higher temperature and then cooling it to the normal temperature. Whatever the properties that is being achieved by that annealing or normalizing will be 200 times less. That means to say that if the same material is been subjected to cryogenic heat treatments, it possesses 200 times better and improved properties compared to the heat treatment processes. That is what, say for example, the tools. If you take a HSS tool, which we naturally use it for the lathe applications like threading or milling, threading or tracing or paper turning or whatever it may be, HSS tool is very popular for its higher brittleness, higher strength. So if the same HSS tool, if it is being subjected to the cryogenics treatment, it can give 200 times more life than the normal HSS tool. That is one of the. And then he also says die casting. Die casting is one of the major technique nowadays when you don't want any jigs and like any joining of material is not required. Say for example, you don't want any welding to be done. When you want casted one, which any complex shapes, then they will go for a die casting techniques. Die casting is a very famous technique for any complex shapes and angles. Okay, and their dies, forgings, that is what casting, forgings all comes into the same family. Then the jigs and fixtures, etc., increase when it is subjected to. That is what it says. The life of guitar strings increased by 4 to 5 times with no need for tuning. Basically, if you're a guitarist, you can experience that. What happens when the guitar strings will be continuously will be subjected to uh, compression and extension. That means it will be subjected to the stresses come continuously. So people will tune it often to make it tight, and the rhythm of the sound should come properly. So in order to do that, what they do it is they go for the guitar strings which will be subjected to the cryogenics heat treatment. They say that it will be increased by 4 to 5 times. The life of the guitar strings will be increased by 4 to 5 times without needing a tuning. Then the cryogenic, see my dear friends, these are all you have to write in a brief way when he asks for general applications of the cryogenics heat treatment. Then cryogenic recycling turns the scrap into the raw material by subjecting it to the cryogenic temperatures. Say for example, maybe workshops or any material handling processes or industries when which there will be almost scrap material will be there. If that scrap material will be subjected to the cryogenic temperature, once again they regain their property. They regain in an enhanced property compared to the monolithical. Say for example, I have an iron piece and I feel this is a scrap and I have thrown it for the scrap. And one more iron piece which I am using it regularly, the scrap material, if I subject that to into the cryogenics temperature, then the cryogenics temperature subjected at a recycled material will give a better life compared to the monolithical material. That means it is nothing but a recycling. Okay, this is mostly used in PVC and rubbers. PVC means polyvinyl chloride. Okay, these are all the other cryogenic applications. No, in the applications in the field of medicines, cryosurgery, cell preservations, food preservations. Cell, basically what happens, the cells, we are all living because of the cells. If the cells is being taken out, even if you take it as a blood samples and bone marrow samples, preservation of bone marrow samples, preservation of the blood cells, maybe dengue fever, you must be knowing it. Dengue fever, usually it comes when there is a platelet count is less in your blood. Now there is a one technology wherein which every human blood will have the platelet counts. That will be in the ratio RBC, WBC, and then the platelets. Platelet is a one interesting cells which gives us a healing effect. Okay. Now this there is a one technique. If a person is suffering from a dengue fever, he has to be given only the platelets, not the RBC and WBCs or hemoglobin or anything. So what they will do it is there is a one technology even in your KLE hospital or even in the Ramaya hospital. There is one technique where in which if you are giving a blood to the patient, only it will filter only the platelets and it will send the platelets to the infected person and the remaining blood will come back. In such cases also, even if you want to preserve only the platelets of the blood, you need to have a cryogenic applications. I just shall explain you now. Now, cryosurgery is a novel technique in which the harmful tissues are destroyed by freezing them to cryogenic temperature. Wonderful, wonderful, beautiful applications where we say, for example, I have an elbow over here. I have an elbow here. If I have met with some many accidents, something like this, the cells which are here will be dead. The dead cells, usually what happens, it just comes out of any dead cells, our body will not host or will not allow the dead cells to be present in our body. If these dead cells got entrapped in our bodies, any part of the body, then we can identify that part of the body where the cell has been dead, and we can treat that those particular part of the body and then the cells, subjecting it to cryogenic temperature. Okay, cryogenic temperature, and destroy them and take it out. This is also called as a surgery. What do you mean by surgery? Surgery is something we are just healing, or something we are removing, which is a foreign particle to our body. So this is also called as a cryogenic surgery. Cryosurgery, cryogenic surgery or cryosurgery, it is one and the same. Then the cryogenic surgery has a shorter hospital stay, less blood loss, and small recovery time. This is the major advantage. As I've already told you, this is one of the most advanced and novel techniques that the medical science have developed using the cryogenic systems. A surgery which is even, I want to tell you, even in our spinal cord, there will be C1 to C13, there will be locks will be there. They are all very important one. Even these spinal cords can damage our brain also most of the time. So any lock, it will be locked like this. Any in between a lock, if there is any cells, if they are dead, which got entrapped between the cells, maybe like C13. C13 is a one log which is at the bottom portion of our spinal cord. If it is subjected to any sort of pain, completely our paralyzing will take place. So that is what happens if you undergo any sort of surgery by cryogenic system. Then there will be a less blood loss. That means they are not cutting complete part of the body, or they are not subjecting for a higher blood loss. And then small recovery time. That means the recovery time what you need after the surgery is less. Obviously, the hospital stay will be less, so that you can also reduce the hospital bills also. That's kid, right? Okay, but the cryogenics surgery itself will be very costly, to, to my knowledge. It is generally used in patients with localized prostate and kidney cancers, skin disorders, retinal problems. As I've already told you, if there is any one part, any particular part, if it is being subjected, only this infected part has to be removed. Then, say for example, even the cancers, that's what even he has asked to, us to discuss. The cancers means it will be affected only to that part. Only those cells has to be removed. If you take a medicine, the medicine will affect the complete body. So what our cryogenic surgery does is, it will influence only the cells which have been subjected to the cancer or which have been infected. That is one thing. And even he says the kidney cancers, or it may be like a kidney stones. Nowadays, even you might have heard about it, laser treatment. If there is any kidney stones are there, they will send the ray, they will blast it. They will blast it. If the size of the stone is big, they will blast it and make it into small pieces, and then it just comes out with the urinals. That is what the one technique before we discuss about the cryogenic. Now, similar one is also related to the cryogenics. Then the preservation food at lower temperature is well known technique. I just told you on the other day, CFTRI. CFTRI, which is there in the Mysore, the only one, I think, in India, which has been extensively meant for the food processing units, where the food preservation at lower temperature is well known technique for that. Cooling of seafoods, obviously the seafood which will get decay very early compared to the normal. Say for example, if you take any mutton, chicken or something, the domestic meat compared to the seafoods get smells very faster. Okay, so this in order to preserve the seafoods, meat products for long time preservation is achieved by use of LN2. Now here you might also see this cryogenics system in each and every milk processing unit. Say for example, KMF which is there near to the Harihar, the KMF which is there in the Kormangla, Bangalore, where the chillers will be used. Chillers is the one wherein which you are going to preserve the milk product, and it will be very cold up to the temperature of -100, -200 degrees centigrade. It will be. Systems are developed to preserve blood cells. This actually, which we have already discussed. blood cells, plasma cells, human organs, and animal organs at cryogenic temperature. Human organs means, say, for example, in case of a liver transplantation, or it may be a heart transplantation, where it has to be preserved. That is what I have already discussed this in depth earlier. Applications in the gas industries: liquefaction, separation, and then storage. Liquefaction is the one process which is called as converting or preserving the gases in the state of liquid at a higher pressure. Even I was just talking the nitrogen cylinder and the oxygen cylinder. Oxygen cylinder, which is there in our energy conversion laboratory, the oxygen is being stored in the form of a liquid state, which has been maintained at 200 times, 200 pascals, that is 200 times more than the atmospheric pressure. That means the atmospheric pressure, if it is 1 kilopascal, then the pressure of the liquid oxygen or liquid nitrogen which is preserved in the cylinders will be of 200 pascals. 200 pascals is very huge. 200 pascals pressure, if you keep it in your hands and it will make a hole and it will go without your knowledge. That is the speed of, that is the effect of that pressure. Now, applications in particularly in the gas industry, the transportation of gases across the world is done in liquid state. Obviously, that is the true one. Done in the liquid state. This is done by storing the liquid at cryogenic temperature. The use of inert gases in welding industries has initiated higher demand for gas production. The gas production in the recent past. Cryogenics like LOX, LH2 are used in rocket propellants, while LH2 is liquid hydrogen and liquid oxides, and hydrogen is being considered as for the automobiles. Now, liquid nitrogen is used as pre-coolant in most of the cryogenic systems. Yesterday I have already told you. Then the steel industries, oxygen is used in the production of steel. Basic oxygen furnace uses oxygen instead of air. Nitrogen and argon are primarily used to provide an inert atmosphere in the chemical, metallurgical, and welding industries. These things in the field of superconduction, I just shall discuss in the next class. Now it is going to get terminated.